Well, hey there.
Hey guys.
Welcome to the Relationship Talk with JaNay and Alex to follow up with your incredible message on Sunday about relationships.
Yeah, vision for relationships.
Having vision
right?
for relationships, and that's a huge thing. I almost missed that. The issue is most of us, we kind of feel like we get relationships, but to have vision for your relationships, that takes everything to a whole new level.
Yeah.
And by the way, shout out to you, babe, and our production team, because that message was amazing. And I didn't know where I was. I thought I was in my living room, but obviously I wasn't, because you're in cars, you were walking on streets, you're on a couch. It was aesthetically pleasing, to say the least.
I'm so glad. No, I'm super proud of the production team.
Yeah. But everything you said was great too.
Thanks.
I loved it.
Thank you.
So we have a few questions that we're going to jump into and talk through. I think also we're taking questions live. Is that correct, guys?
I think once we get through all the questions that were submitted.
But they can submit new questions right now.
They can, but we may not be, depending on time.
We may not be able to answer that. Depends on how long we elaborate on these current questions. How do they do that? Do they know how to do that? Do you guys know how to submit questions? Cool.
Yep.
All right.
Everyone
I
knows.
just got the thumbs up.
Yep.
In the comments. In the comments, guys. All right. All right.
Which we love the comment section
Please.
as much as we can't see it. But the last one of these that we did about sex,
It
we
got wild.
loved it.
No,
We
it got
loved
crazy.
that people were in there, were paying attention, were asking questions and talking back and forth. So engagement, right?
Engagement. Engage. Listen to me. No judgment here. Just be vulnerable. Be real.
I know. We like to,
because we're going to be real.
For sure.
Hey, we're gonna be real.
Is that mic in a good spot for you there?
I don't know. I'm just gonna move it around.
Okay. What we really
It's like
want
the Holy
everyone
Spirit.
to know is that as much as we are pastors, we love Jesus.
We're also humans.
Yes, we are human. We look to the Holy Spirit to lead us. We are not experts in everything.
Oh, that's true.
Right?
That's true. I didn't know you were going in that direction. But
I just want to let everyone know that we're always working on our relationships that we have, not just this one, but the relationships around us.
Work relationships, always getting better. Family relationships, always getting better. Relationships in our marriage and kids, always trying to progress.
Yeah. So we've gone through a lot and looked through a lot of different materials. Of course, we've gone to God and sought after his wisdom and a lot of different things. We talk with a lot of different people in all different kinds of relationships.
We've learned a lot in counseling and mentoring time, really understanding kind of the breakups and the failures relationally, and then also the successes and the mountaintops.
So these are just, when we are answering your questions, we are going to do the best we can and be as real as possible and hopefully bring some clarity and maybe some just things for us all to think about when we're talking about vision for relationships. Now, a lot of these questions maybe are aimed a certain way towards a certain type of relationship, but we are going to talk about all different ones in here because we know that everyone's in different places in their life, but we all have relationships.
And they all matter. And you should have vision for all of them.
For sure. So, do we want to go to the first question?
Let's jump in.
Let's do it. It'll be up here on the screen. Okay. What is the ideal age to start a relationship?
Ooh, great question.
Yeah, the ideal age. Well, I'm guessing that they're talking about a romantic relationship.
I'm guessing so.
Yep, because we know that we're kind
brothers
of born
and sisters,
into relationships.
they just kind of start.
Exactly. So with a romantic relationship, I guess there's not always a black and white answer. And that's what we'd like to kind of put out there for some of these, but let's kind of talk through some of the gray, right? So when we're talking about the ideal age to start a relationship, a romantic relationship, I'm going to just ask the person, do they think that they're ready for a relationship and a romantic relationship and all that brings? Are they even in a place? You said earlier, what did you say when we were looking through these? Are you in a place to lay down your life? Is that what you said?
So this is the thing with this. First of all, I don't think there's an age, number one. Number two, if you're talking about a romantic relationship leading to marriage, the question would be, isn't it about how old you are? Are you ready to be mature enough to lay down your life for a person?
Yeah.
To do whatever it takes to make the relationship work.
Yeah.
If you're not, if you still have all these kind of things that you want to do with your life, this is something I talk to young singles. I'll talk to single people all the time. They'll be like, I want to be married so bad, that are not in a relationship. And I'll be like, hey, how do you feel about sleeping in the mornings? Do you like to get up early? And they're like, no. And I'm like, do you get mad when people wake you up early? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, you might not be ready for a relationship, because it's accepting small little inconveniences like that really help you be prepared to be in a committed relationship with another person.
Yeah.
The truth of the matter is you're probably not going to marry someone with your same habits and your same perspective.
True.
So, and if every time they do something that's different than you or do something that contradicts how you think, how you feel, you're going to be irritated. You're probably not ready for a relationship.
Yeah.
So start kind of working on that now. Start picking up humility now. Start thinking, man, like maybe my perspective is one piece of the pie now to help you better prepare yourself for a relationship. And I would say what you can do, here we go. This is something tangible. A great way to know if you're ready for a relationship is, do you have different kinds of friends that have different opinions than you, that have different personalities than you, and you don't find yourself getting frustrated, irritated, whatever? Are these friends deep? Are these friends close?
Yeah.
Like, are you committed to these friendships? Have these friendships lasted through different seasons? Because the truth is if you're ready to manage great friendships, then you're probably ready to manage a romantic relationship.
That's wisdom. I would say, to add to that, because I think we get this question a lot from probably junior high, high school.
Yeah. Or this could be a parent.
This could be a
asking
parent
for their kids.
For sure. And a lot of it is kind of, they're wondering, like, they're trying to, like, when is a good time that I can tell my child, or they're wanting to tell their mom and dad, like, we should be able to do this at this time. I would just like to bring attention to the fact that we don't get seasons back. Do you know what I mean?
We don't.
And as a kid, like, enjoy the single season. Enjoy being a kid.
You enjoyed your single
Do you know what
season.
I mean? Yeah, I did. And
No,
I just,
you got wild.
being a kid, I think when we talk about vision for relationships, it's having vision for the season that you're in.
That's
really,
right.
whatever, for all your moments, all the different pieces. So when we talk about a relationship for junior high, high school, I would just say, man, because things get way more complicated when you add a romantic relationship to something.
Yeah.
But when you are about something in those age groups, I'm like, really think about it. Like, is this something that I really want to enter into and start, think about and have to worry about? Because this season, when you are a kid and, you're under your parents' roof and you have everything kind of taken care of for you, it's like you don't get that back. And so I would just say enjoy it and really pray about and think about and use wisdom from your parents and other people. Like, is this something that I really need right now? I know that society, like, makes it feel like in every age
you should not be single.
You need,
if you're single, something's wrong with you,
to be in a romantic relationship, but that's not really true, right?
And Shout out Clarissa Vani. It's okay to be single. Yeah,
it's completely okay to be single and just enjoy it, right? So that would be the one thing I would say too.
And just to wrap this question up, I would say that that's really, really good. And at the end of the day, a relationship isn't going to fulfill you.
Yeah.
It's not going to satisfy you. When you talk to young single people about like this, they always want to be like, you can say that, you're married. Stop being naive and ridiculous. It's not going to satisfy you. It's not going to complete you. It's not going to make all your problems go away. In fact, I would kind of have my life figured out, my purpose figured out, my emotional health figured out before I get into a relationship. Right? When you have those things going, when you're actually walking out your purpose, when you've decided on your life mission, you're pursuing the bigger things that you want to pursue in life, that's a great time to say, hey, maybe I'm ready to bring another person into this.
Yeah.
Right? Because the truth is finding another person isn't also going to help you find purpose, identity, affirmation.
Yeah.
And if you expect another purpose to bring that to or another person to bring that to the table, you're going to wreck the relationship.
Yeah.
Right? So I hope that helps.
Because there's a whole bunch more complication and pressure in romantic relationships. But there's tons of friends. We can all have friends, right? Friendship is great. Okay, let's go to the next question. What are the main red flags?
Awesome. There you go. This is kind of connected to the first one. Mm-hmm. This is what I'm going to tell my daughter. I don't know if I'm going to tell my son anything because, he's a little wildcat. What I'm going to tell my daughter.
I'll tell him.
You'll tell him. What I'm going to tell my daughter is you're not allowed to date a guy who can't introduce you to friends that he's had for a really long time. Because I want him to prove that he knows how to manage healthy relationships. Right? So I would say if you meet someone and they don't have consistent close friends and community, that's a red flag.
Yeah.
Right? That means they haven't done well managing relationships. Why do you think they do well managing the relationship with you?
Yeah.
Right? I would say looking at the different areas of their life, how they have stewarded over their life. Mm-hmm. Right? Do they steward over their time well? Do they steward over their finances well?
Yeah.
How do they take care of what they already have? You look at that and then think, man, if this, and that doesn't mean you can't be friends with people.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean you can't encourage people and hang out with people. But for an actual committed romantic relationship, those are some pretty big red flags. If they aren't already taking care of the things that they have in their life,
Yeah.
how could they take care of you or take care of a relationship?
Yeah. I would definitely say any sort of abuse would be a red flag.
What's abuse? Define that.
I would say if there's any verbal, if you see a pattern in something, verbal abuse.
What's a verbal abuse?
Yeah, I would say putting you down.
Like saying you're stupid.
Yep.
You're dumb. You're an idiot. Something like that. Yeah.
Things like that. I would say definitely physical abuse. These are red flags, right?
Like
Things
hitting,
that you're looking
pushing,
for. Yep.
smacking, forcing yourself.
Yep.
Right? Yep.
I would say controlling relationships. If people are telling you always when you have to be there, what you need to look like, what it needs to be.
Remember when we were in Colombia and I wanted you to wear that silky blouse with gold hooks and clasps?
Not going to happen.
And
That's not my style.
I didn't make you wear it.
No,
that's the point I'm trying to get to. I didn't abuse you in Colombia.
You said, "Hey, this is a cute top," and I was like, "No, it's not."
And I was like, "I'll buy it for you right now." And you said, "Please don't." And then I let it go. And I said, "Okay, fine. I'll try again in a few years."
I was like, "Where?"
Yeah.
Would
it had no
someone wear
back
that?
on it.
Exactly.
That's what I liked
like the
about
club. I don't know. I don't even
Yeah.
go to clubs. Exactly.
Yeah.
It was
I forget what
not
was
a
holding
good
it
use.
together.
That
I
would
think
not
it was
be
just
good
gold clasps.
stewardship of our money. Do you know what I mean? Exactly.
Yep.
So that controlling feeling, and that can kind of creep in slowly.
Yeah, that can.
So it can sometimes be hard to pick up on.
Hiding.
Secrets. Yep.
Hiding and secrets.
Yep.
That's why I always tell people, like, one of the things that I loved about you is you were okay with us being transparent about our issues to people around us, to mentors and to others around us.
Yeah.
If you're with someone and they want to just like keep everything tight, you're like, we have a problem. Can we talk? No one can know about this.
Yeah.
Dude, that's a red
For
flag,
sure.
bro.
Because it's only going to get worse,
It's
right?
only going to get worse. And then you're going to find yourself on an island of dysfunction.
Yep. And I feel like at least the culture that we've kind of created at our church and I think healthy culture is that you are able to be transparent and real, and people can know that you don't always have everything together, right? But that's a slippery slope that can go into really big things, because in relationship things can get harder, right? And it's not all easy, and so there can be things, and when you feel like you can't get help, and I think when the other person maybe isn't open to get help, that would be another red flag.
Here's another red flag for yourself. If you see characteristics in a person that you don't like or you think are red flags, and you think that you can change them if you're in a relationship with them or if you get married to them, you're like, well, it's okay that they have these red flags because I can help them get better.
Like they'll change later.
That's a red flag that you're not ready for a relationship.
For sure.
Because you can't change people.
Yeah. Well,
sometimes people change, but you can't change them.
Yeah. And you don't know when they're going to change,
yeah,
right?
You might go through insanity for 25 years. Are you ready for that?
Because we would say, like, I hope in a healthy relationship, we know people do grow.
Yep.
Right? In a healthy relationship. And people change. Like, I'm not the same person as I was before. Yes, personality-wise, different things. But, like, I've changed. We change in different ways. Small ways. Yeah. Sometimes our likes change, like our dislikes, the things we sometimes tolerate. Different things can change.
Different things.
So if you are thinking, that's going to happen.
Crust pizza.
Yeah, you're right. Alex likes to talk over me. I don't know if you guys noticed that, but it's for real. So, but yes.
I'll try to get better. I'm sorry.
But I do think we're like never gonna. This is never gonna end. We're gonna stay on this question forever because I'm never gonna get the answer out. But yes, I think that the people do oftentimes expect people to change, and they're thinking in a certain time frame, and we just don't. We don't know if that's going to happen. And I think that can be a dangerous thing. I think sometimes if you are introducing someone in a relationship and none of your close relationships, everyone is close friends, family, ones that you trust and you feel close to, and they're just like, this person is no bueno. Like I feel like you may want to take that in, right?
Yep.
And be able to like think maybe I want to look a little closer.
That's a great idea.
So those are all different red flags. There's actually probably more too, but those are just
the ones we'll give you.
Some. Yeah.
Enjoy.
What's the next one? Do you think it's worth it to be in a romantic relationship with a non-believer?
Can I answer this one?
Sure.
So this is what I'll say is, so I'm going to tackle this two ways. I'm going to tackle this as a pastor. That's the only way I'm going to tackle it. So when you look at the New Testament scripture, it says that you shouldn't unequally yoke yourself with another person, right? Which basically means you shouldn't be in a relationship with a person that's not kind of on the same journey as you.
Yeah.
Right? If you're asking yourself and you're saying, hey, I want to date someone that's a different faith than me, then I'm just gonna be really honest, then there's probably a good chance that your faith isn't as important to you. So the question would be, you should ask them if their faith is that important to them. And if faith isn't that important to either of you, then you're actually probably more alike faith-wise than you think. See, what happens is when faith is really important to one person, but it's not important to another person. And that usually causes a lot of breakdown. Yeah. Sometimes, if there's two different faiths, one, say it's Christian and one's Buddhist, I don't know. And then they end up getting married, but they're both kind of mild. They're not that passionate. They're not that committed faith-wise. What really breaks my heart, and I've journeyed with a lot of couples through this, is when one person in the relationship, they fall more in love with their God. They find themselves becoming more committed to their faith community.
Yeah.
They are more involved, but then their partner is at the same place in their faith as they were when they started dating. They haven't really grown in faith much. They don't really have a passion for any greater depth or relationship with their God. So then at that point, it becomes rather unfair, in my opinion, because it's almost like the person that you married, the person that you got together with, was kind of on the same page with you. Yeah. But now that you're married, you find yourself going in two very different directions. It's even messier when there's kids involved.
Yeah.
Because now there's a tension or a contention with each other about who should be teaching the kids what.
Yeah.
What road or which parent should the children follow. See, marriage is already really hard. And really challenging. And when you have different faiths in the marriage, I think it can oftentimes just make it almost unbearable at times.
Yeah.
Have I seen marriages work? I have two friends that got married with different faiths, and they're still married. Yeah. A lot of the other ones did not work. And they broke down because even if it doesn't create an issue now, it can create an issue later. Yeah. So I would just say it's if you can, man, try to find someone who's on that same page with you. Yeah. Because faith, if it's not something big now, it can become something big later.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that a good answer? Is that all right? All right.
Yeah, I think. Go to the next question. How do you start a relationship? So interesting.
That's you, babe.
Sure. I feel like there's so many different ways.
Like every 15 minutes.
Yeah, I do. I love meeting and getting to know people. Yeah. I love people feeling seen and just hearing their story. Yeah. I feel like my high empathy works best that way, like getting to hear them and I don't know, seeing where they're coming from. And I feel like getting to hear different viewpoints. So I do love that. How do you start a relationship? Now there's all different types of relationship. I'm guessing they're talking again, maybe about a romantic relationship, but I think this can work for all different kinds. I feel like when you yourself, right? I'm gonna elaborate on this. I feel like when we do work on ourselves, right, and we know who we are, and how much God loves us, then we start to see, and there's a confidence to that, right? Because you're like, no, the God of the universe loves me. He created me. So then I think sometimes we can start seeing relationships as something, man, this is an exciting thing, and it's not something that I need, so I'm gonna like try to suck stuff out of this relationship, or I need it to look a certain way. Like there's some of those things that kind of fall away at the wayside, right? But when we talk about starting a relationship, I think being in a good, healthy place is very helpful.
Yeah.
Like in our lives, that we've worked on different, maybe emotional intelligence, social cues. We are self-aware. I think that's a great place to start. But I mean, you can start a relationship anywhere, right? You can see and meet someone in Starbucks, at your job, if they're just a friend, or if it's going to turn into a romantic relationship. But honestly, I feel like some of those best ones do kind of start and build as a friendship first.
Yeah.
And then they can stay as a friendship, or you can go into another lane, into a romantic, into a romantic relationship, or they can become, whatever, just a great relationship with a coworker or a boss. But when you find some common ground and you start not being so consumed with yourself, but man, you genuinely want to know about a person, I think a relationship.
Did you say something about being consumed about yourself?
Yeah.
I think it's worth saying that again.
Yeah. Sometimes we're very consumed by ourselves.
What's going on in our world.
Exactly. And so even when we're meeting people, we're not really meeting them.
Shout out to everybody who only talks about what's going on in their own life.
Yeah.
You might have a hard time making friends.
I think, right? Or any kind of relationship.
Yeah.
Like,
you might not even get a dog.
Yeah.
The dog will be like, what about me?
What about me?
I know you had an incredible day. What about me?
You only want me when you're sad. Yeah. But I feel like
that's relationships.
like it's one of these things,
you
right?
You only want me at night. You only call me past 10 o'clock.
Right? Because we suck things out of people because we
people
have
are
all
so
these
selfish,
needs,
it's
and we
insane.
feel like,
I can't believe God loves us.
But like in a relationship, we want it to build each other up.
Amen.
Romantic, friendship, coworker.
That's
I
why
just had I had the opportunity to preach that message on vision and relationships, and really a great vision to have is to leave a person or a place better than when you came, right? That you would add to it, the relationship. And hopefully they'll want to do the same. Yeah.
That is how you start a relationship.
Yep.
You look for people in your sphere and you say, how could I serve this person?
Yeah.
How could I just encourage them? How
Get
could
to
I
know
be
them.
a great friend to them?
A great listener.
A great listener.
Yeah.
Someone who doesn't interrupt. This joke.
No, you're it's okay. You worked on it. I love you. Okay, the next question. What are the healthy expectations to have in a relationship? I mean, I think there's all kinds of expectations, but I think some of the healthiest expectations are the ones that have actually been said, right? The ones that are at least out there. Communicated
the most
expectations are uncommunicated expectations, right?
Yeah.
Which I think a lot of times we have expectations that we never communicate.
Yeah.
And that gets us in trouble, yeah?
Oftentimes that comes from you seeing other couples, TV, Instagram, and all of a sudden, without even knowing it, you can create expectations in your mind that you have for your partner.
Yeah.
Which is so unhealthy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I would say, like, so literally that's a trump card. That answers the question. Anything uncommunicated is the wrong expectation. Communicate expectations can probably be okay. But I would say that if you have any kind of expectation for a person to make you feel a certain way, then that's an unhealthy expectation. Yeah. You cannot give the keys to the kingdom of your feelings to another person. Can someone hurt your feelings? Yes. But you always have a choice on how you're going to react to those hurt feelings. Yeah. How you're going to manage those emotions and those hurt feelings. Right. So I think that is a very unhealthy expectation, is that person is kind of going to be there to help you have good feelings, help you be happy, help you feel satisfied. That's a really unhealthy expectation. I'd also say a healthy expectation is that a person is going to manage their own emotions and they're going to manage their self well. Yeah. That's a very healthy expectation. There's nothing wrong with you looking at another person and saying, I want you to kind of get your stuff together, right? Like, I expect you to have integrity, follow through with what you say, don't have breakdowns, offer a little bit consistency in your life. Those are healthy expectations. Yeah. Right? you can't do that for that person, and you can't change that person, but you can expect them. And if they don't meet those expectations, you very much have the ability to say, hey, these are some things I expect in the relationship. Can you meet these? If not, I don't think I want to be in a relationship with you.
Yeah.
Right? I think that's super healthy.
Yep. That's good, babe. What's next? What are examples of unhealthy expectations to have in relationships?
We just kind of answered
So yeah,
that, right?
yeah, I think we
we'll skip
answered
that
both.
one.
We can go to the
Yeah,
next one.
Yeah.
What is the best way to deal with disagreements?
With a knife.
I mean, I think that you would actually talk about, like, have healthy confrontation, that you would be good listeners to each other. Because I think a lot of times we're trying, in a disagreement, we're trying to be right?
Yes.
So we're just trying to prove our point
case.
and how right we are, right? Where if we could slow down a minute and actually be a good listener and try to hear the heart of the other person. Some people fight dirty, right? And some people are way better fighters in disagreements than other people.
Who do you think out of us, who do you think is a better fighter?
I don't know.
We fight way different.
Yeah, we do. I don't know. Maybe we're an even match in different ways.
Yeah, because you terrify me.
I terrify you? Yeah. I mean, yeah, I don't like to be
fought with.
Exactly. I don't know.
You're like, don't bring it here.
Yeah, I have other issues probably.
I've had to learn. This is how I fight with you now. I make jokes. Because
Yeah,
when I
that's a
come
great way.
straight at you,
Yeah.
it's so scary.
Which, I mean, I think, and that's one way to have healthy confrontation,
Is
right?
learn another person.
Exactly. Learn the person. Watch them. Know their angle. Some people, you can hit them, not hit them, not actually, never, no hitting. But you can like shoot them straight.
At
Again,
them.
not really shooting.
But I love it. Bring it straight forward to me.
Yes, and just say it. This is what's going on. And people really respond and love that. Other people, they'll crumble. They do not.
Or they'll get a knife.
Yep. No, I mean.
So one way I would say the best way to
come
deal with a disagreement is don't come to prove anything. Come to listen.
Yeah.
Come to listen and learn.
Exactly.
I promise you. And you might be thinking, but that's not going to get what I want. That's not what this is about.
Yeah.
Grow up. Come to listen and come to learn. Right? And then process what you heard, process what you learned, and then respond.
Yeah.
That's the best way.
And I would say, and this is something that we've learned, like if something is prolonged, a prolonged disagreement, and you guys can't come together on it, it's a great time to get help.
Get help.
And to bring another person and hear their perspective, someone that you trust, someone that you know believes for the both of you, that is believing the best, that loves both people in the relationship.
Ask your Connect group leader.
Yep.
Counsel and care.
Yep.
Ask a friend. Bring someone in that really believes with you and believes for you in faith, that you know is going to give you perspective within your context.
And for the other person.
Because
I think that can always be hard for the other person if they don't feel like that person is for them. But yeah, I think coming, listening, if you feel like in a disagreement, nothing good happens when everyone's super fired up.
Oh, yeah.
Like walk away for a bit.
Cocktails or tired, horrible time to handle disagreement.
Also, know the time, the best time that people can receive information, the best hard things. Like,
what happens if you try
person?
to talk to me after 5 p.m. about anything?
Yeah, you have a really hard time.
Yeah, and if I talk to you before like 7 a.m.
Yeah, you're ready.
I'm ready. You're not.
We know each other.
We've learned it.
Exactly. So I think really learn that person, whether it's a friend, whether it's a family member, a coworker, a boss, or in a romantic relation, your spouse or your fiance, whatever.
That's
really
great
look
advice,
at it.
JaNay.
Yeah. So let's see the next one. What's the best way to respond when your boyfriend or girlfriend wants to have sex with you before marriage? Yeah. You're looking at me. I'm going to let you if you want to.
So many layers.
I mean, here's what I would say. Before, again, this goes into knowing who you are and knowing what you feel like your boundaries are before going into a relationship. And really actually thinking about some of this stuff, because if you kind of don't prepare yourself, you can get into situations and you're not ready, and that's something that maybe you're not wanting to do, and then you kind of go into that. But I would say to be able to communicate what your boundaries are is huge. Know them for yourself and with your boyfriend or girlfriend, to be able to communicate
I think
those
that's a
to
great
them.
test too, because their ability to respect your boundaries
Yeah.
absolutely connects with their ability of how they respect you and respect the relationship.
Yeah.
And guys are famous for this, if I could be a little sexist for a moment, how they can be like, oh no, baby, but like, I respect you, even though I'm just blasting through your boundaries and I don't care about what you're saying. I'm just, you know what I mean, trying to whatever. And I think that it's one thing to know someone by what they said, but a great way to know what someone really is thinking is by watching what they do.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that that's really good. And I always compare it to like a credit card. If I had a $10,000 limit credit card, open limit credit card, I wouldn't give it to someone that I didn't absolutely trust. And I wouldn't even let friends take it, because then it would just make the relationship complicated if they accidentally overspent or they went into debt. You know what I mean? Who wants to chase someone down after that? And I think in the same way, if we have something that's incredibly valuable to us, then we shouldn't give it away easily or freely. I think it's going to hurt us. It's going to hurt the relationship, and it's going to end up hurting that other person.
Yep.
Right. And yeah, why not wait?
Yep. And I would say for any of you that maybe have been in this situation or are in it, and if anyone is making you feel like it's not a big deal, it is a much bigger deal than maybe our society makes it, because there's so many layers to it. And so if you are
not even remove Christianity.
Yeah, exactly.
Psychologists will tell you about how big of a deal it really is, how healthy monogamy is for a human, right? Men and women. Sometimes people will think like, oh, it's a big deal for women, but not men. It's a big deal for every sex.
Yeah.
It's huge. The long-term and short-term ramifications it has on your personal biology and your psychology, they're huge. Yeah. Right? So when you choose to make love to another person, when you choose to have sex with another person, like I would say that, because this is talking about marriage. This is talking about marriage, right? I would say
no, it's boyfriend or girlfriend.
Before marriage. That's what I mean.
Yeah, yeah.
So I would say instead of worrying about when the marriage is or when the wedding is, I would hold that act of sex with that person at a higher regard than whatever your plan is for the actual marriage or the wedding. Yeah. Because I feel like a marriage is a one-day ceremony. Giving yourself physically and fully to another person, that's like a forever decision. Yeah. Right. So I think that you should just put a lot more value on it than what you see on Instagram. And I would just say to any of the maybe couples, boyfriend, girlfriend, we're in a relationship, a romantic relationship. We're there to really love that person. And I think when we're pushing people past their boundaries, it's not loving. Yeah. Right. And so if that's you and you're in a situation like that, that's not that person is not being loving. And so I think it's good to remember that, right? Because we'll be like, oh, well, this person is this and this, but if that's a big deal to you, then I hope the other person would see that it's a big deal to you and would honor that and put it in high regard and really. Well, another way of like loving someone is motivating them to pursue the higher standard, or what's best for everyone, for them, for whatever, right? So it's not just not doing something, but it's actually proactively doing something. Yeah. And that doing something is saying, hey, we want to treat this like something valuable because you're valuable and I'm valuable. Yeah. So let's treat it like something valuable like it is, and let's not treat it like something little or something small. Yep. Right? Let's go to the next question. How do you deal with someone you have a non-romantic relationship with who continues to hurt you, like someone in your family or close friendship group? This is a great question. It's a really good question. Yeah, because I think if you're going to have vision for your relationships, you're going to have to gain the vision and know where you want to go. And also that's probably going to have you setting boundaries for different people in your relationships, right? Yep. So if someone is continuing to hurt you over and over, I would say this: have you communicated it and have the courage, which I know it takes courage to do that, but in that, to communicate and to actually go in to resolve a conflict and confront someone that's hurting you, that's the loving thing to do. Yeah. Okay. And as much as it's hard,
It's not mean. It's the loving thing to do.
Selfish.
To bring clarity and to let them know that this is hurting you, right? To give that chance and present that chance to them.
Now, does that mean that they're wrong? Sometimes, not all the time.
Yeah.
You could have other issues.
For sure.
Right? But you have to bring it to the table and be honest.
Yeah.
Right? I would say 70% of the people that talk to me about this as their pastor, they haven't voiced their pain, frustrations, or problems.
Completely.
They literally are, when they talk to that other person, they'll be like, no, it's not a big deal. When it's a huge deal, and they're struggling with it in a huge way, but when they actually have that conversation with a person, they're like, no, it's okay. No, it's not a big deal. Dude, be honest.
Yeah.
Tell people, say, hey, this is a really big deal to me. Take it or leave it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And we've talked about this before in confronting something or dealing with conflict or someone that is hurting you, because that's what that is, right?
It's
confronting
under 30-minute podcast about that.
Honest 30. We do
Honest
have
30, that's
podcasts
what
and we
it's called,
talk
not
about
under 30.
confrontation.
Honest 30.
But in that, it is one of these things that we have to say, like, when you go into it, you want to make sure you have the right heart in it too, right? Otherwise, it's probably not going to go well anyways. But for you to want to see reconciliation, to want the best for that person, to come with humility and with love into that conversation, to have that and to be truthful and honest is really going to help that. And then to be able to set up healthy boundaries.
Yep.
And so if someone continues to cross those boundaries and hurt you over and over in a way that
create bigger boundaries
you've talked about, to be able to say, hey, like this has happened over and over. I don't know if I'm going to be able to continue right?
the relationship.
Exactly. So maybe there needs to be heavier boundaries or more distance or different things like that. So those are some of the things.
I had a professor in university that said, no one ever falls off the Grand Canyon on accident. They have to get through like 4 boundaries. They have to get through like a guardrail. They have to not read 5 signs. They have to break through like the rope, the wall that's in between. You know what I mean? It's like no one falls off into the Grand Canyon. For those of you who don't know who the Grand Canyon is, you can Google it. But not who the Grand Canyon isn't a person. What the Grand Canyon is. Anyway, so if you're in a potentially damaging relationship where someone is hurting you or could hurt you, create more boundaries. Create safer space, right? I'm not saying just cut off people. But just create more boundaries, create safer space. Only hang out with them with other people. Don't hang out with them or don't take their calls at a certain time. You know what I mean? Just create safer boundaries.
And again, I think the loving thing to do would be to communicate that.
Yeah,
to say, hey,
to them, I don't feel comfortable with this.
This continues to happen and I'm not okay with that, so I'm going to have to do this. Because I think when we don't communicate those things, that's when people get even more hurt, even more offended, which can cause even more problems. So that's what I said. Let's go to the next one. What is the healthiest way to maintain a long distance relationship?
I don't know, dude.
I think you have to really
break up.
No, all of you, if you're, don't worry. No. This is what I'll say. Maybe let me do this one. Since you said it's like Alex.
We were in a long distance relationship for 18 months.
We were.
I've talked to so many people in long distance relationship. It sucks.
Yeah, it's really, really hard.
It's so hard.
Yeah. I would say to this, again, let's be hopeful to all of you. Really pray about it and think about it. Say, am I up for this? Because here is the thing. A long distance relationship is 2 people that are living 2 different lives in different places, but that are going to come together and still try to maintain something together, which can be done. But I think it's really hard when there's a lot of insecurities. It makes it really difficult.
You can hide things.
And I would say just and you can just start making stuff up in your mind, right? But you kind of have to be, I would say, are you in a secure place in yourself, in who you are, in this relationship, if you want, before you go into a long distance? Because it just magnifies every insecurity.
It's so tough.
It's difficult. But I would say for you, like, healthy way to do it is to allow them to live their life there. Right? Like they don't need to know that you're at Starbucks ordering this every moment of every day. Do you know what I mean? Oh, I'm walking in here 10 minutes later. What are you doing now? You know what I mean? Like,
who cares?
No, you guys have stuff going on, but that you guys do keep a committed time, sometime, whatever works for you guys, where you do get to come together and hear about your lives, and that you would share mutually in that.
Yeah.
That one person would get to share that, and then the other person listens, and the same thing, right? So it doesn't start turning one way. Yeah.
You know, that's not true. I take back what I said earlier. I met with a couple the other day, and they were in a long distance relationship. And I said, how often, and they got married. No, they're going to get married. I said, how often did you guys talk? And they're like, oh, we were horrible. And I said, what do you mean horrible? And they said, I mean, we were both busy. We were both working a lot. We both had our circles of friends and community at church and everything. And they talked, we talked like once every 3 weeks, maybe once a month.
Yeah.
I said, wow. And I said, yeah, I mean, we knew we were committed to each other, but we were both living busy lives, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And I said, that is the healthiest long distance relationship I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's really a long distance relationship is kind of like a pause.
Yeah.
It's not a stop. It's a pause, because you're just kind of pausing the progression of the relationship until you can be together. Because trying to fool yourself into thinking like we can grow in our relationship 1,000 miles apart is probably not going to happen.
Well, I think you can grow in different types of communication, which I think that can be good, right? Now it's like you don't have that person to touch all the time, so it can be good. It can work a different muscle when you talk about communication. But yeah, it is much slower in that way. So
and you have to be ready for that.
Yeah, I would really think, is this something that we're ready for? Because it can be super hard.
And if you are ready for it, lower your expectations.
Yeah.
Just don't go in there like this. Just be like, hey, I'm okay with the bare minimum.
Yeah, let's know about each other, what's going on. I'm
yeah. Well, now we have Instagram. We didn't have Instagram.
Yeah, right.
So you don't even have to call them. You can just watch their story. That's enough.
No, it's true. So it's going to be difficult.
Post on your story if you're in a long distance relationship.
Really know who you are and know if you're able to take it. Okay. What's the next one? What to do while waiting for a future husband in a season of singleness? Ooh, this is a great question. What do you want to say? I mean, I'll say it. I would just say
don't do anything that you wouldn't do with your husband. Live your life.
Yeah. What do you mean?
Go after, have vision for your life. Have purpose, have mission, dedicate yourself, grow, be healthy. Do all the things that you want to do in your life with your husband without him. Like maybe not be able to raise kids or, have sex with everyone, you know what I mean? But live your life, live a passionate, committed life. Do not sit there and say, when I have a husband, this will be different. I'll be able to do this. No, go after everything. And I would say, you have to find peace in that.
Yes.
Because again, your spouse will not bring you peace.
Yes.
Find peace first. What a gift you will be for your husband if you find peace and satisfaction first. So then you don't have an unhealthy expectation on them to be that peace and that satisfaction for you. Wow.
Yeah, huge.
Wow. That's honestly one of the hottest things about you before we got married.
Oh.
And you're still like that. You're still you don't expect basically anything from me. I don't feel like I add any value to your life. Right? But it's because you just are so focused on who you are, who Jesus is in your life, and what he's called you to do.
Yep.
Right? And that's so attractive. Right? So keep doing that. Yeah. That's it. Great.
I really do have vision for
there it is,
your
Clarissa and Bonnie.
Right? Stop. We love you, girls. You're young. Don't worry. So, yes, have vision for your singleness. God has you. He woke you up this morning, whether you're single or not, and he's put purpose inside of you. And take hold of that and go for babe.
No, go ahead.
No, what do you want to say?
Go ahead.
Well, we're going to wrap up, so I'm going to go into the next
Go to the gym.
Okay.
And smell good. There you go. Practical tips. Work out 4 to 5 times a week and smell good.
Yeah. Work on, again, yourself, the things.
I mean, emotionally too, but I'm talking about getting the body karate.
That you don't even know is in there. Work on some root issues maybe in your heart, some things that
I've been asked this question literally since forever.
For sure.
My answer hasn't changed that much.
We work on ourselves and we live our life with purpose because you don't get this is your time, right, to be single. Or maybe you'll be single your whole life. But when you live it to the fullest and you love it and you love Jesus and you live your life, you're not going to regret that, right?
Yeah.
You will regret if you live your whole life just waiting for something if it never happens, right? So that would be a really hard thing.
Yep.
But I know that God has vision for all of you. Now, what I really would love to do to further a conversation in relationships, but in different way. March 16th, we have a singleness event coming up. And so it's really going to discuss that. We'll have a panel of all different people talking about singleness and what it looks like, the struggles of it, the exciting parts of it, right? And really be able to get into that a little bit more. We would love for all of you, guys and girls, to come to that. If that is something maybe where you are at in life, let's go for it, embrace it, and look at how you can really live your life the best you can in that stage. Yeah.
Love it.
So we would love to see you there. March 16th, singleness event. March 18th, we have a singleness over dinner. Now, if you haven't been to any of our over dinners for the collective, they're incredible, and they talk about all different topics, and you come and meet all these different people. Yep. So come to it, this singleness over dinner. You'll have different breakout sessions for that, as well as just getting to know people in the main kind of time. It's on Zoom, so we love that. Now stay tuned to know about all of this different stuff at lifeministry.tc IG for more info. So if you go to there at lifeministry.tc, their IG, for more info, you'll see all of it. And if you follow them, then you'll get all the different updates and you'll know what is going on. But we would really love to have you there.
Yep.
Yes. So, yeah, I think that is.
Do we have any more questions?
I don't think so.
Are we done? Oh, no, we're not done yet. Yeah.
Oh, we have more.
I'll keep going, babe.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
we're going.
It's only been 30 minutes.
Yeah, for all you people. Okay. I don't know. I have no clue, no concept of time right now, but I love being here with you guys. How to face harsh treatments in a relationship.
Harsh treatments.
Yeah. I'm guessing maybe, I don't know. Yep. Harsh, maybe abuse in different ways. Maybe what we were talking about before.
Abuse, yeah. I mean,
it
abuse,
doesn't
reference the past question, right? Harsh treatment, the best thing I would say is just to tell someone, hey, you're being really harsh and I don't like that. And if you keep doing that, I'm going to break up with you.
Yeah. I think, again, it's communicating boundaries and expectations.
If it's not a romantic relationship. Then
I mean, that's any
relationship.
Any relationship across the board. Yeah. It may not be romantic, but that you would
tell people. Say, hey, that's harsh for me. That might not be harsh for you, but that's harsh for me.
Yeah, for sure. How do you know if he/she is the one? I feel like we get this question a lot too. Yeah.
I think there's just people that are healthy and are going in the same trajectory as you.
Yeah.
And I would say that those people are the people that you should make the one.
Yeah.
If you're physically attracted to them, if they are healthy emotionally, and if they're going in the same general spiritual direction that you are, put a ring on it.
Yeah.
Oh, they have to like you back. If they don't like you back, then you're just a stalker.
Okay. Yeah. I just think if you guys can come together on some of the main things, and be like you said, trajectory, vision for your lives, that you're going in the same direction and those big things. I mean, you could be completely different people, but you come together and some of those main things are similar and going in, I think that it would be probably a good match.
I don't believe in like soulmates.
Yeah, I know. And so, but I would introduce them to different people in your life.
Oh, that's what we did. Remember that?
Yeah, important people in your life.
In fact, you hung out with my friends without me, and I hung out with your friends without me, almost like an interview style. Like, it was hardcore, but it was so great.
Yeah. And I think it's good to see and know the person long enough. 3 months. People can kind of put on something for 3 months, usually. I've read about this, and then it starts to like seep out, like who they really are. Do you know what I mean? And so really take them into different environments, get to know them, be friends with them, see them in different environments with different types of people.
That's huge.
Different scenarios, see how it works in your family. And I think you'll start to gain clarity, as well as be praying about that. And like, God, is this someone that I could, really, even with all of their things that aren't perfect, can I go the long haul with them? Do I see this? Because all those things are going to come out even more, and it's going to be hard.
It's going to be
hard.
But
when you can both make that decision, you're going to work on it. I have trust issues in relationships due to how I grew up. How can I overcome this?
Talk to our care and counsel ministry, attend life classes, join a connect group, and start serving on one of the teams at TC.
Yeah, that's
because all of those places will facilitate the opportunity to have healthy relationship with other human beings. And that's the only way to learn to trust.
Yeah. I think those are great practical things. The thing is I think a lot of people do have trust issues. I think we have a lot of broken relationships in our lives, in the world today. And so that's something that you are definitely going to want to deal with, because it's not going to get better, right?
Yep.
And so I think putting yourself in situations, like you said, those are all practical situations that you can put yourself to find greater health and really work on some of those things, to talk to someone about it, right? To help identify where those are rooted at, where they started, right? Why? Because sometimes it's really hard to get to the center of something. We don't really know where it starts or ends or anything like that, but start to peel back some of those layers, and put yourself and be vulnerable to put yourself in relationship, whether it's a friendship. I would say friendship would probably be a better place to start than going into a romantic relationship, so that you can work those out.
What were you saying about pulling back the layers? I think that's huge, because what I've learned is usually people that have a hard time trusting others usually really have a hard time trusting themselves. Mm-hmm. And that comes from that lack of self-awareness and self-management. Yeah. So doing that self-work, pulling back the layers and getting down to the root, like what's really going on inside of me.
Yeah. And I think being vulnerable too is sometimes allowing people to look in and be like, what do you see? Because sometimes we can't see it, right? And so we kind of aren't able to know that there may be an issue. But this person sounds like they do know that they have this issue. Yeah. So if they can put themselves in some of those scenarios and situations where they are going to have to be more vulnerable and kind of put themselves out there, but I think they'll find greater health in it. Yep. Yeah. How do you deal with toxic relationships within the family?
I feel like this is just really similar to some of the other questions. Communicate what's toxic to you. Communicate what hurts you. Communicate what frustrates you. Communicate what makes you angry. Communicate boundaries to keep that toxicity or that toxic behavior away from you. And then stick to your boundaries. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like when you can, again, have a healthy confrontation, right? Mm-hmm. So many times there's toxicity happening, but we never actually deal with it. So we're annoyed by it, we're hurt by it, we run from it, but we don't actually deal with it. A healthy relationship, which I believe God wants us to have healthy, thriving relationships that are life-giving, right? Takes work.
Yep.
So we can't get out of the work or the hard stuff. It takes journeying through the hard stuff and having the hard conversations and going through some really messy scenarios on both ends, whether it's a hard thing for this person or this person, and walking through it and being there in the uncomfortable, awkward stages to get to a place that's a deeper relationship. And so when there's toxic relationships, I think a lot of times we know, we may start to realize it's toxic, but we don't do anything about it because it's so uncomfortable, right? And so we it's a stalemate, or we just run. And so then the relationship is kind of just completely ruined or kind of out there, and it gets even worse. But we don't want to be part of the toxicity, right? So if we're recognizing it, I want to be a part of the solution. I want to help bring health to it. So to be able to have the hard conversations, and I know, especially here, this can be hard with family, right? And to have to really confront some of these things can be so difficult and so scary, but it's gonna be worth it. And as you do that, because again, that's the loving thing to do, and you set boundaries, because
Yeah.
you don't have to let people push you around, right? And you don't have to allow the toxicity to continue over and over, but to be able to say, hey, this is hurting me. This is what I see.
Yeah.
This is what I see. I don't like it. I'm not okay with it. And to see how they respond, right?
That's so good, JaNay. Because like I said, like really sometimes like you go into this, you thinking, oh, that person's toxic. But what I've seen a lot of times is oftentimes when you are experiencing something like that in a relationship in your family, chances are you may be bringing some toxic behaviors to the table as well.
Yeah.
So it's great to just put everything out on the table and just say, hey, this is how I feel about this behavior. It hurts me, it makes me feel the other way. And then let that other person also speak.
Yeah.
They might say, well, hey, blah, blah, blah. And try not to get defensive. Try not to expect or feel entitled to any sort of response.
Yeah.
And just listen, communicate your feelings, and learn what really is going on.
Yeah. And if you feel like you can't be in certain environments with certain people, again, let them know. You know what I mean? Like, this is because boundaries have to be, a good word? Maintained.
Maintained,
Right?
enforced,
So you
maintained.
have to enforce and maintain them and continue to come back to it, continue to have the conversations. But if there's an environment or a person that you just are, it's really, it triggers different things in you, have the conversation with them, but maybe for a while you don't feel like you can deal with that, like don't put yourself in those scenarios.
Yep. That's it, baby.
Yeah. What would you define as cheating?
Ooh,
Yeah.
it's cheating.
I mean,
Interesting.
I would say, like if you, I don't know. I think
I think about this all the time.
here's the funny thing is I would say there's some things that I can think of conversations that I've had with people. I think that certain amount of cheating, like people know. Do you know what I mean? Like they know, like this is
What?
like
sleeping with somebody else.
Yeah, sleeping with
Kissing
someone
somebody
else, kissing someone else, having emotional attachment conversations,
to
right?
another person.
I would say anything that you are withholding information about is probably leading, if it's not cheating, is probably leading towards that.
I was just going to say the same thing, but I was going to say anytime you're not prioritizing your partner, it's probably leading to cheating. So I feel like those two things hand in hand.
Yeah.
Secretive, withholding information, and lack of prioritization.
Yeah.
Right? When you're not thinking how, like, I'm putting my spouse as priority, that's
Yeah.
going to lead to some unhealthy decisions.
Like you should, to me, in
Yeah.
a healthy relationship, you should be able, it should be all out there on the table. So it wouldn't be something where it's like, oh, like, no, I don't think I'm going to like tell her about this or him about this. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, this is okay. We don't have to, like that is already on dangerous ground because why? Why wouldn't you tell your partner about that? Right. And so, and I feel like with that answer, because I know there's a lot of back and forth, well, with guy friends or other friends that are girls or out to lunch. And again, I would have the conversation with your partner.
Well, that's where their prioritization comes in.
Right.
Right? If you are saying like, oh, I'm just going to have lunch with my girlfriend, like we've been friends forever, blah, blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah. And they're like, I'm not comfortable with that. When you don't make them
Exactly.
priority,
Yeah.
I'm not going to say that like you guys are sleeping together, but that's pretty darn close to cheating because at the heart, at the purest form is when you are not putting that person in the position where they deserve,
Yeah.
right? Where they should have the most weight, the most say,
Yeah.
right? So I think that that's huge, right? Like
Yeah.
you have to choose. And that's really hard for a lot of couples, right? When they do say something like that and their couple's like, I'm not comfortable with that. What are you doing? Then it's like, well, why are you so jealous? Why are you like this? Why are you like this? You don't get to respond that way. You know what you get to do? Say, hey, babe, okay. In that case, never mind.
Yeah. Or like hang out together. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Hey, come with me.
Like,
Let's do it all
I'm
together.
always like, why can't I just hang out together? And I don't know, like these are all conversations. These are things like and I'm I don't know, like we have different guards that we set in our relationship just because we think it's probably best. But
not being alone with opposite sex.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I don't post naked pictures to my Instagram.
Yeah,
stuff
of
like
course.
that.
No, but I just think that for me.
That was a joke, by the way.
Yeah, I don't know. If
I wouldn't do
everyone
that
gets his
anyway
humor,
because I'm not
everyone
in
knows.
really good shape.
Okay. So, but I think for me, I feel pretty, I'm not super, what would be
Jealous?
the word? Yeah, I'm not a super jealous
I would
person.
actually like it if you're more jealous.
I know. You would love it. You would love it. He would love it. I've always been that way,
Like,
though.
I would love it if like I was talking to somebody like in TC space and you came up and you like grabbed me and
like,
kissed
"Why
me
you
in front of
talking
them
to them?"
and you're like, you are my man. I'd be like, oh, yes, I am, girl. Woo, take
yeah.
me right here.
Okay, it's probably not gonna happen. But
No.
I've just never been that way. But before,
We both have never been really
no,
jealous.
Not at all. And I think before,
I remember like guys used to come into you at the lobby at church and like front hug you for like 15 seconds. And I'd be like, you know what, bro? I mean, she's my wife forever. If you want her for 15 seconds, then.
He's ridiculous. No, but I think for me, before I got into a relationship,
Yeah.
I already knew. Listen, if I'm gonna be in a relationship with someone, like I can't be feeling like I need to check everything on their phone all the time. I don't want to be so jealous or
Worried about
insecure
that
that I'm worried about that. I want to be able to trust them.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, so that being said, I'm an open book. So we can look at anything on anything and we'll take each other to
All my
everything.
DMs.
Yeah, like nothing, there's no security locks
Yeah.
on any of our stuff because we don't, I'm like, what would I be hiding?
Yeah, I'm pretty
Right?
sure everybody in this room knows my pin.
Probably. So I think that would be something to really have a conversation about. Like, what do you feel on this before you enter into a relationship? Because
what's
this may not be
cheating
the
for
person
you?
for you, right?
Yeah.
Now you may,
That person might be like, I saw you say hi to them inside the grocery store. Cheater. You know what I mean?
and
Like
I'm
that
like,
could
whoa,
be a little.
like I'm going to say hi to people, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like you may
That's-
want to ask the person and have these conversations before you enter the relationship, and then put the expectations out there when you're in it as
Done.
well. Communicate it.
Boom.
How to cope when you and your partner have a complete different love languages. Oh yeah.
Woo.
Yeah.
That's
I mean,
JaNay
this
and me-
is
Alex Evans.
I feel like this is a lot of couples, honestly. This
couples.
is a ton of couples.
So here we go. Humility, sacrifice,
Yeah.
servitude. That's it. So I learned how to love JaNay, and she's got to learn how to love
Yeah.
me. And
In
that's
fact, I feel like it's like it seems really
and
like
just like
foreign, but we have tools
just like any other language, guess what? You can learn it.
completely.
You know what I mean? You can't be like, I'm only physical touch. You got to do this. No, you got to learn it.
And there's
You gotta
not
be
even
like-
that many.
You got to look and say, hey, like, wow, when JaNay did this for me, that was her showing love to me.
Yes.
And meditate on that. Wow. What did that take from her? What did that require from her?
Yeah.
Look at the intentionality behind this.
Yes.
Right? And that's maturity.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that's assuming the best in your partner, because sometimes, people can get just angry.
Yep.
Because they're like, you're not speaking my love language right.
Yeah.
You're not
You
loving
never
me
buy
the right way.
gifts. I'm the worst gift buyer.
But I think when you can look at what they are doing and know their love languages, then you may see them loving you in that way. Then you can have a conversation like, I actually maybe don't feel loved as much like this, but you can still appreciate that, right?
Yeah.
Then really get to know your partner, vice versa, like their loved ones.
And serve
Learn
them.
about them. What does that
Serve
look like?
them.
What is, gifts or physical touch or quality time? What does that look like
Yeah.
to them? Ask them. What would make you feel loved,
And I
right?
would say take responsibility once you know. If
Yeah.
you feel like your partner is in a bad mood and they don't feel loved, take responsibility. Say, man, have I made them feel loved in the way they receive love?
Yep.
Probably not. Let me put myself out there a little bit.
Yeah, because it's always easy. We're like, oh, well, we receive love this way, so we try to give it that way.
Yeah.
But
That's being childish.
yeah, the other person is probably not. So that's what I'd say. Do you think a couple's finances should be together or separate?
Together.
Yeah,
Next.
we would say together. I just feel like it's not that. No, I'll say this. It's not that if you guys look and put it all together and then make a budget together, you may have spending account for you and a
That's
spending
different.
account for this person that's different. I've seen the healthiest way. I'm not saying it can't be healthy the other way. The healthiest
Way
relationship
is together.
that we've seen is together. Because
Transparent together.
just be transparent. It's all out there. We're
all
all
out there.
sharing it.
It's all out.
No one
Just
feels
like your body is mine, your money is
yeah,
mine.
no one feels like, oh, well, I earned this.
Yeah.
Like it shouldn't feel like that in a
Or
relationship,
sometimes
right?
it's like your body's mine and my money is yours anyway.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay. We're just going to go. How do you keep things interesting in a relationship?
How do you keep it interesting?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I'm
be
guessing
honest.
they're coming from a
Be
romantic,
on- here we
but
go.
we could say this for anyone.
I'm just going to lay out some bullets. Be honest with each other.
Yeah.
Talk about your days with one another. When you get in the car and your spouse says, hey, or your partner says, hey, what happened or how was your day? Don't go, oh, I'm so tired, I can't talk about it. Work, discipline yourself, talk about it. Those are connection points.
Or maybe set a time when
or set
you
a time and say, hey, I'm
talk
super
about
tired. Can we talk in 30 minutes?
Yeah.
And stick to it. Regular hangouts, plan activities together, date nights together, coffees together, books together, invest in it. Listen, I've said this a lot. Relationships, and especially marriage, are like a gym membership. The more you put in, the more results you get out. If you go to the gym once a week, you're not going to see a lot of results. You go to the gym 5 times a week, you're investing 5 times a week in your body at the gym, you're going to see results. You don't go at all, you're going to waste your money, waste your time, and cancel because you're dissatisfied. Same thing happens in relationships. I meet people all the time that want to get a divorce or want to split up. And I'm like, what have you tried? Nothing. I'm literally like, tell me what you've done so far to try to really reconcile this. I've tried everything. Tell me one of the things. They don't understand me. But what have you tried? They don't love me. They haven't tried anything. You got to invest. You got to really put it out there. Man, again, I'll say it. Have conversations. Go out to coffee. Go on dates. Read books. Do activities together. Be honest with one another. Share your days with one another. Spend time with one another. Choose movies that even though you don't both really like the movie, you watch it because at least you agree on it. Do it together. Invest in the relationship.
Have conversations. Continue to learn the person as they are now, not just resting on what they were. Because I think sometimes we're like, oh yeah, I knew that person 10 years ago. And they, again, may have changed, may have different likes and dislikes. So continue
those conversations.
Right, to learn people. What are some ways I could tell a guy I'm interested in them without being too aggressive? I don't want to scare them away.
Okay, I'll handle this one.
Okay.
Smell good.
I mean, okay.
Be in the same space as them. Stand next to them. And like wait for them to look at you.
Okay.
And then when they look at you, look back at them and smile.
Yeah.
Guys are pretty easy. Like, Tim, it's really not that complicated, is it? No, it's easy. Like, smell good. Stand next to them. I'll say it again. When they look at you, look back at the guy and smile, and then just wait. And if they don't ask for your number, ask to hang out, go do it to a different guy you're attracted to until it sticks.
No,
I mean for real. No, that is the truth. Because listen, like if a guy, like when guys are hungry, guess what? They get up and go get food. You know what I mean? Like if it's there, it's there. Like don't like overthink it. That's the worst thing a girl can do is overthink it, right?
Yeah.
Just show up. If they reciprocate you being in the same physical and you smell good, 80% of the job is done.
Yeah.
Right? If they don't reciprocate it, you're barking up the wrong tree, man. Go there.
I mean, I would love to know the whole scenario of this because I think there's different, like, has this been a really long time that you've kind of been
Don't do any, don't
there?
stalk them. Don't like all their pictures, but then in public, like don't talk to them. That's so weird. That will mess a guy up because he'll be like, he'll be like he'll get all these mixed signals. You know what I mean? Like there's people that I know that are like heavy in DMs and then you see them and they're like quiet and you're like, this is so weird. Like don't do that. Don't give mixed signals, right? Don't try to play games. Don't if you like a guy, don't go talk to his friend because then he'll be like, oh, she's into my friend, never mind. You know what I mean? Like, stand next to him, smell good. When he looks at you and makes eye contact, smile at him. While you look into his eyes, the guy will go crazy.
Yeah, wow.
That's it.
Yeah. I think it's definitely getting in someone's space, right? Yeah. So whether you're standing next to them or you have mutual friends and you're like, hey, let's hang out together so that there's opportunity for conversation. I think then maybe you'll have more opportunity to maybe put yourself out there and be like, hey, would you, honestly, I would love just to know the actual
And if
scenario.
the guy doesn't respond to you, it's not because he thinks you're ugly or something. He might not be interested in a relationship in that time of his life, which you should respect that anyway, right? Yeah. But if he is interested in a relationship and he is interested in you, that will work. I promise. All right.
Wow.
Next question.
Okay. Is there another one? No? Oh, yeah. What do you do when your parents don't agree with or like the person you are dating?
Ooh, just don't date them. Your parents know best.
No, that would not probably be always true. I think your parents. What was this?
Oh, I just go for it.
Did you want to say something?
Nope.
Okay. I think you put weight to what your parents say.
Wait. That's
Weight,
Yeah.
right? It doesn't mean you do everything that they say, but it does mean put weight to it. I am guessing this is someone that is already maybe older, not younger. It's a little, when you're younger, living under your parents,
It's like break up or you're
roof
grounded.
and all that, that's a little different. But I think when you're older in that age, that you could possibly actually get married, I would say really like put weight to what your parents are saying, but it's not everything.
Doesn't mean you have to do exactly what they tell you to do.
I would get your partner or the person you like in around other people that are important to you as well.
Yeah.
And actually have a conversation too.
See if anybody else in your life validates what your parents said.
Yeah.
Introduce them to your best friends and then tell your best friends, hey, my dad said this guy is a loser. What do you think?
Yeah.
And then they're going to be like, no, he's not a loser at all. I think he's great.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Give those opinions that matter a heavy weight on your decision-making scale.
Yeah.
And then make a decision.
And then I would say, again, I know we say have conversations, but I don't think people have conversations enough. They don't know, and I feel like people don't communicate things, right?
Yeah.
So the whys behind it, what's your parents' heart in saying that this person is not good? Have the conversation. Like, what do you see in this person that you don't like? It could be something that, no, I think that they need to be wealthier, right? Well, that may not be something that's is important to you,
or they didn't go to a good enough university, or their parents aren't, you know what I mean?
These are all things that we've heard before.
Yeah.
But
or they're the wrong New Year on the zodiac calendar.
Who knows? Or it could
one's
be
crazy.
something, right, where it's like there's character issues that your parents are seeing.
Yeah.
And they see maybe this person being controlling or being secretive or
And ask them
whatever.
to explain that to you.
And ask them. I think too many things cause problems because people don't actually have conversations and communicate things
that's
and
really good
ask
there.
questions.
That's great.
So that's what I would say. Okay. What to do? What do you think about living together before marriage?
That's really good.
Yep.
I would just say why.
Yeah.
Like, why not just get married if you want to live together with a person?
Or why wait? Why maybe live separate and then get married?
I would say if you want to live with someone, you should probably just marry them instead, because you're going to live with them anyway after you're married.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, we love to ask why, right? To hear the heart behind people's choices and what's going on, because I think a lot of times people can answer their own questions.
Yeah, they can answer them
when they start thinking about it and they're like,
because like,
is this the best option? And this isn't just with living with someone before marriage, but with a whole lot of other questions too. Is this the best? Because oftentimes we settle for something that's less than the best.
and that can quickly turn into a habit. You can compromise over and over again and continue. Because this is the thing. If you are asking the question, then you probably have a certain feeling about it. And then you're probably thinking like, maybe I shouldn't live with that person.
Yeah.
Maybe I should. And you don't know. Why not just choose the safe route, the better route, and then can begin making that habitual where you're choosing that route.
Yeah.
And I would say the other hard thing about it is I've seen way too many relationships where you're like neck deep in the relationship and you find out that isn't the person you want to marry.
Yeah.
But then you have the history and the baggage and the brokenness that comes from tearing apart that relationship that was freaking darn well like a marriage, right? And that hurts more than you'd ever imagine.
Yeah.
Right? So if you're going to commit to living together, you might as well just commit and just say, hey, let's make this official.
Yeah.
If not,
Or give it some more time and see like why wouldn't you want to marry this person?
yeah.
I don't know. That's a good question. But again, I love asking the question why and what's behind things, because I think when you start digging around there, sometimes you can answer those questions or see like, wait a minute, is this the best? Does this make the most sense?
Talk about it with that individual. Talk about them. Hey, could it be better? What are the things that could go wrong if we live together and we're not married? Let them, I mean, that's the thing. You get to know them that way. Like, get to know where you stand together. Yeah. I feel like you hit it, babe. Conversations, asking why, get to the root of really what's going on.
Yeah. I think just because we're going to wrap it up, because I think that's the last of the questions. I think with a lot of these, when we ask ourselves questions and when we really start to actually think about it, we're able to start. I believe that, like, God starts to guide us and really show us, right? And speak to us. And you're like, wait a minute. When you're open to that, I think when we shut ourselves off and we're like, no, like, we want either a black or white answer, or we want a yes or a no, or I don't really want to have to think about it, or I only want to listen to the answer that I want to hear. This shuts ourselves off to possibilities of really understanding and gaining more wisdom in life, right?
Yeah.
So that we can have bigger vision in our lives.
That's right.
And so I know a lot of these questions, we go back to that, because I think when you do ask yourself questions, ask people around you in relationship more questions, have conversations, it opens things up and you start to see things more clear. You start to realize, what do I really believe? What do I really want? What don't I want, right? You start to learn yourself more, which is so important.
And that's what it means to have vision for your life, because I feel like a lot of these questions, honestly, are the kind of questions you ask when you're just trying to survive your relationships. Stop like settling for surviving through relationships. Have vision for your relationships. Before you even ask these questions, before you even get with a person, sit down and articulate on a pen and paper and say, what do I want my relationships to look like? Yeah. And then when you start veering or drifting from that, check it. Stop it. Sit down and say, no, this is not what I see for myself or my relationships. And have enough maturity and responsibility to make a change. Yeah.
And good and healthy relationships take work across the board, whatever they are, right? And if we have big visions for vision for relationships, it's gonna take us putting some work in to see them be thriving and healthy and life-giving, and something that really adds to both lives, both parties, or all the parties that are included in it, right? So that's what we're praying for every person, for us, and for every person we come in contact with,
I feel
because
closer to you after this.
Relationship is huge. It makes up a big part of our life. And so we just want all of you guys to have that. We love you. We're always praying for you. Of course, if you have any more questions, you can always DM us at any time on any of the platforms. We'll get it right from you. But that Life Ministry .tc IG will be a great one, because if you ask questions there, we can get them and answer you back. But also, just a reminder, March 16th, we have a singleness. I believe that's the panel. All of a sudden, I'm forgetting.
The panel on singleness, and then the dinner following.
And then March 18th is the singleness over dinner. So we want you guys to be at both. So check out lifeministry.tc's IG so that you can see all of that information, because we want to see you there. And all the other people want to see you there too. Okay, so we hope you have a great night. We've loved sharing and hanging out with you. And thank you for all of your questions and for your vulnerability and honesty. We really appreciate it. Yep. Bye, guys.